Ba-da-ba-dum-dee-da. Am I live? We're big, we're bad, and we're back. How is everybody? Are you all doing marvelously well? I'm just setting up the chat here so I can see you all. Hey, Alan, Volta, Chris Coral, Chris Ibbotson. Hey, Bobby Kane. Hey, Acoustics. Jens, how are you, Jens? Hey, Mary and Sam. Hey, Nick. Hey, Sven. Hey, Patrick Larson. Hey, Tom C. Hey, Darko. Alexi. Nate. Darko. Did I say Darko already? Oh, Chris is CP King, CNP. I don't know what that is. Bum, 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 bum. How are you all? Hey, Philip. I'm scrolling through lots of Chris's comments. Magnus, Chris, Magnus. Hey, Magnus. How are you all? Are you all doing marvelously well? What we have here, you can put the AC on, by the way. Okay. I'm not too worried about a little bit of hum on the vocal mic. I'd rather do that, rather have, if it's even going to pick it up, rather than be 900 degrees in here. It's so hot. As our old engineer Phil Allen would say, it's hotter than a snake's ass. Which I don't know what that means, but it was pretty funny. How are you all? Are you all good? Hey, Magnus. Sheila, Sergey, Blue Wave Dave. So what we have here is a track by an artist called Roni Lee. And I'm going to copy a little Wikipedia link here just so you have some background. So Roni was in a band when she was a teenager called Venus and Razorblades. And they were like a punk rock band that was, managed and, produced by Kim Fowley. And Kim Fowley's very famous for the Runaways and a whole bunch of other bands. He has a checkered past, to say the least. And Roni was a songwriter and a guitar player and a singer in that band. And she ended up writing I Want to Be Where the Boys Are, which was a single for the Runaways. So she's a legend out here in sunny Los Angeles, having played in the 70s as a teenager and 80s, probably teenager, early 20s, all over the Sunset Strip at the Whiskey, and toured a lot. She still tours. And what we did is we went into Sunset Sound a couple of years ago and cut about 3 or 4 songs in a day. And you're going to get a big kick out of this. Kenny Aronoff is the drummer. Now, this session was an interesting one because she wanted it to sound like classic Aerosmith, and the original mix I did was just like that. And then she sent me references that were like Creed and Alter Bridge and very sampled snare and not sort of like a real 70s rock band. Also, I absolutely love Kenny, but I felt like afterwards, she said she wanted it to be all like subtle drumming with like brushes and stuff. It was one of those sessions that we've all had where the artist is telling you one thing and then says that they want something else. You know what I mean? And they wait until you're mixing to fix it. So the reason why I'm telling all this backstory, and I love Roni, she's a good friend of mine, but the reason why I'm telling you this backstory is because I'm not happy with the mix. The snare that we ended up with, is not a snare that I like. It is a combination of different snare samples that she wanted in. And so I feel like this is a really good chance to mix this song from scratch. The multi-track link is in there, is it?
That was in the email. I put it under the video as well.
Right. So basically, you can mix this song, obviously, but I think the challenge is, and what I want to do on this mix is try and keep as much as Kenny Aronoff's drum sound, natural drum sound in there. And then, with that, sort of build it from there. So this might be one we do over 2 or 3 weeks, because I don't want to rush it. I want to make it really, really great. But this is going to be interesting because it was mixed on a console. Hey, Boz. And it was a little bit of a battle with the artist. And we've all been there. And it seemed like a really good discussion. Now, don't get me wrong. Roni and I are still really good friends. And sometimes that's just the way it is. Now, if you listen to, I'll play you a bit of the the song. Oh, and by the way, I wrote this song. I wrote this song with a friend of mine called Buck Johnson, who's the current keyboard player for Aerosmith. He and I wrote this song a long time ago. We had a band together. So this is Buck Johnson's and my song that we wrote together. And it was about an ex-girlfriend of mine. And you can hear it. Who is now married to Pat Smear. That's some rock and roll trivia for you. Let's lay this out. Ronnie Lee's song from Venus and Razorblade, wrote a song for the Runaways. Kenny Aronoff's playing drums from Mellencamp. I wrote the song with Aerosmith's keyboard player about an ex-girlfriend who's now married to Pat Smear. Talk about Hollywood story. That just sounds like the most LA Hollywood thing you've ever heard in your life. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, the waveform on this was like, I don't know if it's smashed to pieces. I used the L2 trick. No, it's not that smashed. It's not. It's what I did is I took the ceiling level and made it, but it's not as bad as it looks, because if you zoom in, there's still a ton of dynamics in there. It's not like an EDM track. Yeah, it's just what I've done is I've shaved off the very top of the transient on an L2, so it gives you the impression that, because you're not seeing that. But all of that's actually gained up, not the other way around. So if you go in there, it's like it's just shaved off. Like that's not even the L2. So it's just controlled. What I'm doing is I'm controlling the output. But if you look at it from a distance, you're like, oh my God, it's a big blob. But then you go in and realize. Anyway, I'm going to play a bit of it. I'm really proud of the song. It's got a meter style intro. It's kind of funky and 70s, but I don't like this mix. Do not like this mix. This is not the mix that you should be referencing. What we're going to do is we're going to remix the song the way that we want to hear it. This was such a compromise. I hate the snare. We've all been there. You'll see what I mean as soon as you hear it. That's great. You got Kenny Aronoff there, babe. You can sample that and put it on the front of your songs. Yeah, nothing's flatlining. Here we go.
Love one another, help one another. Don't you think you know by now? If I do what I please, would it all fall to pieces? All this time we still don't know.
That's about as much of that as I could take. Yeah. So the snare, and it's okay. It's a good discussion. The reason why we talk about these things is important. Like I say, Roni's still a great friend of mine, but that's not the drum sound that I wanted at all. The first drum sound I did, actually, I was thinking, I wonder if we could find the original mix at some point. That would be nice to be able to drop in, so you guys can hear the very first mix I did. If you hear the very first mix I did, I think you will be like, oh, that sounds good. Because it's a lot more of a reality about what we wanted. I didn't have that many samples on the original. These samples got added and changed, and a lot of my standard ones, but they were done, because, she wanted this more quote unquote modern. It's a really tough one when you're working with artists, especially and was something we have to talk about delicately. When they get a little older, they get a little concerned that they want to sound current. And the problem is like, how many times have you heard a classic artist trying to sound current and it's just horrible? I would argue even Jane's Addiction. Jane's Addiction, when they were working with Dave Jordan, was amazing. But when they did that comeback record in the early 2000s, it just sounded like a bad emo record. And it didn't have Eric Avery's incredible bass playing on it. And it didn't have Dave Jordan's twisted production, where he would like DI the acoustic guitar through an amp and blend it with the mic, for that didn't have that like twisted Dave Jordan way of making music. And what they ended up doing was doing like the most bog standard modern rock record, and it made them sound old. Made them sound older, like we're trying to. And I think that's a little bit what happened here. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Roni, and I'm very careful. I don't want this to be negative, but I'm just saying, not just saying, but what I'm pertaining to is like, it's part of our job. And it's tough, to keep artists, educate them, help them a lot. Now, as you can see, this is not gridded. It's tight, but it's not gridded. There's like, it's Kenny. It's Kenny's feel, like, here he is. He's a little ahead, But, for a live drummer, it's pretty darn good. And it's very exciting. So I'm going to do a complete ground up build. So first of all, I'm going to just take all of the live drum mics and listen to them. So like I say, this might be a longer mix than we normally do, and we might do it over a few days, but I think it'll be worth it. And I want this to be great, and I want all of us to learn from this experience. So I'm just going to move my hat up under my snare. So what I'm doing here is just soloing all of the drums. So take the left and right overheads, which to me I'm thinking about in terms of, there's a mono 67 here, there's a room high, room low. I'm doing all this from audience perspective, but you can mix it any way you like. If you want to do it drummer's perspective, that's perfectly okay. And the talkback mic is the talkback mic, which I leave up for live. Okay, so this is all the drum elements. Everything's at 0, so it's not going to sound great because the rooms will probably dominate. But let's have a listen to the drum sound. This is the drum sound in the room. Where's the hat? Let's pull it over here. Floor. Bear with me. This might be a little slower than we normally are because we're building this up from scratch. So we'll do floor 1 about here. Floor 2 there. A little wider. And our rack a little bit between the hi-hat and the snare. Okay, so this is now the natural sound of the drums, and this was in Sunset Sound. First of all, listen to that beautiful ringing Kenny Aronoff snare. And this is obviously rooms are too loud, kick and snare aren't loud enough, but this is a real drum kit. I mean, it's just got tons of energy. It's Kenny Aronoff. It's freaking awesome. So first thing I'm going to do here is, just group some simple things. So we're going to create a kick group there. I'm not going to turn the samples off. I might just make them small for the time being. Just kind of make it so it's easier to navigate through here. It looks like the snare sample isn't in here anyway. Oh, there it is. No, that's just, you've got like grace note snare samples, but not the actuals. No, there they are. Found them. Sorry. All right, snare. Spelling mistake, snare, but hey. Okay, hat. Toms. Okay, so here's my overheads. Now there's 3 overheads here. So these are probably 67, so they're pretty beautiful. Let's have a listen to the overheads. I love that snare. Listen how good that sounds. It looks like our mono overhead may not have been a 67, excuse me. It's a little squashed. It looks like it may have been a click too heavy on the mic pre, maybe even 2 clicks too heavy. So I'm going to have an overheads. You know what? We'll do a 3-way overheads. But the first thing I'm probably going to do is bring that one down. Now this mono 67 is against the wall and it's compressed pretty heavily. Oh, so good. I don't have a particular order of color coding. I used to. When I was working on my own, I was really, really militant about making everything the same each time. Because when you're working on your own and you don't have assistants and other engineers and you're the producer, the engineer, and the mixer, you want something really, really organized or else you're not going to be able to navigate. I mean, that could be your drum sound. Okay, and then these are the high left and right sunset sound. There's a little bit of a phase issue going on there. Really subtle. I'm going to delay this one to the one above. So we'll just go and grab. This is the not very sexy thing that you have to do, just like the getting everything ready to go. So I'm just going to do, did you all hear that phase issue? How the center wasn't quite the center. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring here to here, just going to delay the bottom one by, we'll go to samples here, just 11 samples, really small amount. But hopefully now the center will pop back in. Cool. Now, the snare's in the center. There's a slight offset with the kick drum on the positioning of the mics because it was centered around the snare drum. So what I often do on this side, in this instance, is take the left-hand mic and ever so slightly pan it in. And now, hopefully, the excuse me, the kick drum will center. There it is. Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes I'll do that on the console in bussing, and I'll just pan the mics in till I get a perfect stereo image of the kit and then print it. In this instance, I'm not sure why I didn't at Sunset, but I didn't. So now we have, you see I've come in about 60%. Yes, Norman, you'll be able to watch this later tonight. This will stay up. Cool, so now let's create that as a drum group. We'll call that Rooms High. And just for those of you that, those are like high microphones up above the kit facing down. The phase is good on the snare. As you can tell, it was 11 samples out, so it was probably like half an inch out on one side, you know. Ridiculous as that is. And I pan the left one in slightly because it's not quite giving me the symmetry on the kick. Okay, now we've got the low ones. Now the low mics are on, as you would imagine, on the ground. So we'll go Rooms low. And these are actually miking the reflected sound off of the floor. As you can tell, they get a lot more low end. Something a little bit similar. I'm getting like the kick delayed ever so slightly. So I'm going to pull in about 60% on that and have a listen. The snare's leaning ever so slightly, so let's go to the tom section. I like that. So it's pretty good, pretty darn good. Sounds like how the kit felt in the room. The problem with sometimes, or the reality with spaced pairs, is sometimes they exaggerate the stereo field. Now, if you listen to that, let's quickly, room's low. Oh, I already created that, sorry. Have a listen. It does sound like the kit in the room. If you go to that tom section, that sounds like the drums in the room. The toms are like, well, for you on this side, over here, and the rack's over here, so rack, and it sounds like the drums. Drums in a room, the floor isn't in the corner of the room, and the rack isn't in the other corner of the room. So this actually feels like the drum kit. Oh yeah, vocals spilling in. Really don't worry about that stuff. Once you'll never hear that. And to be honest, it's kind of nice. You're going to hear it in the talkback because this talkback is squashed to within all schnizzle of itself. Oh, how good does that snare sound in the talkback? So the talkback is a 414 in the middle of the room that is really heavily compressed so that everybody can hear each other when we're talking. But what happens is when I go in to record, it actually mutes. But we record it. It mutes on, mutes the playback. But you can actually record it, and you get this. I'm not sure what you mean, Walter. I pan the room mics so that it sounds like the drums in the room, and yeah. Anyway, I love that snare. That's Kenny Enos snare. So that's what we're going to try and preserve in this. Now, there is a beautiful thing. I took the snare live and put it through Sunset Sound's plate. So this is off the floor, the snare off the plan. And then I took the chamber for Studio 3 and printed it. Oh, no, it's a Studio 1's chamber. Even though we're in Studio 3, this is Studio 1. I was able to patch in it. So this is the Van Halen Doors room chamber. So we have Sunset Sound reverbs off the actual studio. Okay, so now let's solo all of those elements. Now they're grouped and panned. And we'll take those elements and we'll build ourselves a little drum mix. I mean, that's a drum sound. All I want is more of that. That sounds like Kenny Aronoff in the room. That was Kenny in the room, and that's what I initially went for. And I'm not going to play where we ended up. Let's pull in a little bit of those plates there just for schnitz and schniggles. Pretty tasty. So there it is. That's the recording of the floor. Now, obviously, it's going through, thank you for my tea, going through Studio 3, console, some of the finest collection of microphones in the world, with arguably one of the top 5 drummers in the world. It's Kenny Aronoff in a great room with a bunch of really nice mic pre's, compressors, and microphones. And there you go. I mean, that's the natural sound. Cool. So why don't we just build from there? What I'm going to do, there was an overdub of some crash cymbals and tambourine stuff. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. So why don't we just build this as... So what I'll do is I will just highlight all of the mics that we used here. Oh, what's this? Oh, the Mono 67 didn't get put in. Let's have a listen to that. So that's all. Those are all the elements we're hearing. So what I'm going to do is now call that live drums. So now I've got a group of a rough mix of live drums that I'm happy with, that sounds like the drums to me. Oh, that's not entirely true. I managed to miss out the toms there. You live and you learn. Okay. Give me a second to correct that. Almost there, but not. Live drums. Let's make sure we add these 3 as well. I think Donito's asking about mono. I've done actually a lot of drum mixes with just a mono overhead and love it. Dave Way in particular always only uses a mono overhead. And, you know, he mixed Michael Jackson albums and recorded them. So I think it's, you know, it's the way you want the drums to sound. Jakir, as you know, is, we talked about this a lot, doesn't like wide drums. He tends to keep his no more than like 50 or 60% wide. And I get it. It starts to sound, it makes the left and right appear quite wide when you pull guitars and pan them left and right. So it's not actually a bad thing. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, so we just did. Thank you, Mr. Burt's Suitcase. Burt's Suitcase. We did just put out a video that we recorded last night. How late were you editing that one? Wasn't too late, was it? We left early.
No, that one wasn't bad at all.
So 10 free plugins, Pro Tools plugins, but for everybody. Okay, so I'm happy with that drum sound. Just enjoying listening to such a great drummer. Okay, now we're going to go and move to the bass. Let's have a quick look at this polarity. Have a listen to DI. I can't remember the name of the bass player. He's actually quite well known. I'm sorry. He's quite a famous rock bass player, and I'm completely blanking on his name. Some of these guitars are Roni, and some of them are me. It does say Roni on everything, but you'll probably tell which is me. I ended up playing some of the rhythm stuff, the acoustic, and I also played piano. So it's me on acoustic and piano and some of the electric. I don't remember. I'm sure we'll figure it out in a minute. But the bass player used a bass that I was not familiar with, something very modern. And it sounds very active. Have a listen to this. And you can tell he's like, it's like hitting the pickups and stuff like that, you know. All this stuff here. It's a little brittle. It was active. But, you know, this is what happens. You're an engineer. I'm the producer, obviously the engineer and the mixer, but your job is to capture what the bass player gives you. This was very specific because this was Roni and she wanted it to be very live, like a live band. Crazy harmonics. All right. Well, we're probably going to use that just for the low end. We'll have a listen first. Let's listen to the bass amp. Okay. Well, I mean, you can tell. I mean, you can still hear that harmonic in there. It's great. Even though the bass amp is got more low end than the DI, I'm not going to use the DI for the high mids because of all the sound of the strings hitting the pickup. You know, it's just too modern sounding for me. I just use that word again because it's such a confusing thing to say. But I think his bass tone needs to be, you know, a little bit more in keeping with the sort of 70s rock thing we're going for. Okay, so let's see if we can just correct this polarity here. So if you see, if we drag this waveform back and hopefully this all makes sense to you. That says that's 162 samples. So let's take the DI. It doesn't matter too much, quite frankly, because I'm going to end up wiping out all the high end and just using the low end of the DI. But let's do it anyway. So let's go 162 samples. We can hear before and after and see if you prefer the sound of it. You should. So here is the bass DI without that plugin on, with the amp. Now turn it on. It's a huge difference. Just listen, and then when you look over to the left-hand side over here, you'll see that I am turning the plug-in on and off, and you hear the low end come and go. Cool. Yeah, it's a huge difference. Okay, so all that clickiness, hitting the pickups, brand new strings, active bass on the DI is just going to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to grab an EQ. I suppose it's just going to be an REQ because they do the job and I'm used to them. Okay. Again, it could be a stock EQ. This doesn't have to be fancy whatsoever. So whatever DAW you are in is absolutely fine. So we'll come down, I don't know, we'll make it 176. We'll get gentle on the slope. And now let's listen to just the DI on its own. Michel Quaglio, it's over here on the left-hand side. See here? So on the left-hand side at the top, we need to get that thing. We used to have it, the green thing. You can have it in red. The pointer that lights up. Okay, yeah, we'll have to get that installed. But yeah, can you see where I'm looking over here? It says bars, beats, minutes, seconds, samples. Over here. I'm trying to point. You can't do it on camera. But anyway, yeah. So there you go. Immediately, the bass DI is usable now because it doesn't have all that clicky, clicky, click, click. I mean, new strings can be good if it's played with a pick, and you know. But this was, I can't remember the name of the bass player. He's a little older, and he had the treble turned up full on his active bass. He was playing really heavily, hitting the thing. So there's all this clicky, clicky, click, click coming out. You know, it just is what it is. So now I'm copying this REQ down, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I've got can see the EQ point at 176. So let's go here. And then turn off that. And now we've got the reverse. It's not very good either, is it? The amp. It's just not a good bass sound. You know, we were cutting 5 songs live in a day, and this is what happens sometimes. Yeah, and he, you know, his groove is definitely, you know, I might edit it a little bit, you know, but his groove is definitely a little inconsistent. I was going to tell you, guys and girls, when I was at, you know, there's this whole group of like LA-ish kind of people that I met, you know, with Kenny and Roni, and of course Dick Wagner became a good friend of mine. Obviously he's not LA, he was in Detroit. But then I recently met, like, in January, Suzi Quatro, I grew up listening to when I was a little kid. It was just great, like, meeting all of these, like, people that records you bought when you were little. So usable bass sound, this is what we started with. All bitty and clicky and whatever, and now we've got this. Now, obviously I'm going to bust those two together and create something more special, but this is just the beginning to get a blend to make it usable. Okay, so let's hear it with the drums. So this is what I'll frequently do, especially seeing as this is not gridded. I'll just pull this up, and have it under the kick and snare. So when something bothers me, I can just look. I might have the grid turned on, just as an option to edit towards, but, But I'm not going to edit yet because we have to see the relationship with the guitars. But there's moments that are not good. It does seem like after a while he sinks down to the pocket. Oh, I'd love to interview Susie. She was up for, we're trying to get her into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. For those of you in the UK, in England in particular, you'll know she lives there. Ever since she became successful in the 70s in England, she got very big. She had lots of top 10 singles there. She married an English actor, and I'm blanking on his name. I think he's well known. And then so she lives over there. She's very, very lovely. It was like quite a thrill for me to have dinner with Suzi Quatro. I might not let that go. That was not good. Let's just... I don't want to get... You have to be careful here. Opening a huge can of worms, but in something, just nudging that whole section forward a little bit. I did something I promised I wouldn't do. I was going to wait for the rhythm guitar, but I just couldn't let that go. Okay, and that's going to be tough with transitions. When transitions happen, the bass and the drummer, Kenny had learned the songs, but he'd never performed it with the... Oh, no, that's not true. They did 2 days of pre-production. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting now. Okay, so let's go to the main rhythm guitar, which I believe is this. I'm just going to solo it for a second. It's got that... Do you have a guitar you could pass me in a pick?
Yeah.
My Fender Acusonics would be a personal favorite. I know all you guys and girls here in the Academy can see the truth, The gear I use in the videos... Can I get a pick, please? Is the gear I use in real life. Not the gear I'm paid to use. And I know that this is not a popular guitar, and the picks are over here. But I have absolutely no reason why. I don't understand why it's not popular. I mean, I think it's that's it for the guitar players out there. And if you want to play some guitar stuff on this, we can do it. Like I said, I wrote this song, so it's in G. It's See the meters influence? For those of you that are fans of the meters. And then it's, so let's have a listen to, this is Roni playing that riff, I think. I don't think I replayed it. We'll have a listen. That's definitely not me. Let's throw in the drums and the bass against that guitar and give it a listen. Let's listen to that re-intro. Let's group those two together. Now we have a DI here as well. You can replay any of these parts you want. I actively encourage it. You can add some different keys to it. Hammond may have been nice on this track. Did I put Hammond on there? I don't remember if I put Hammond or not on this. Or maybe I did. I know I played piano on it. Yep, there's a Hammond. I did play Hammond. That shows you how long ago this was. All right, so we're going to call this Roni main guitar. Okay, so this is Ronnie's main guitar. See, I'm trying to decide. See, like Kenny's really super on top there. He's really excited coming out of this section. There is a solo, and Philip, if you want to replay a solo, play a solo. It's interesting because the bass is sitting behind, which is good, and the guitar's pretty on, but the question is, what do we do? Do we keep it? It's a little... Let's go back to that top. I think I like it. You know, it's, yeah, like Michelle Quaglio's playing says, yes, it's a bit off, a bit too rush, but again, yeah, it's kind of weird. I can't believe I said kind of weird. It is a little unusual, but I think I might like it, and I'm going to reserve judgment. Let's see what else is playing in that section. Is that it? Is it just start with that? Oh, I think the snare sample just came in there when I took that off. Let's just separate those out. You know, I'm not saying we're not going to use them, but let's... So, AD, we use addictive drums to drop them in. Snare, whoops. This is fun doing this all in real time and talking about it, because I had a great experience recording it with Kenny. So 80, so these are grace notes on the snare. Mute that for a second. And then, yeah, I'm not saying we're not going to use samples. I'm just saying we're not going to use them until the last possible moment. So the tambourine here, and let's figure out, let's go to the chorus and listen to the drums. So he's playing the hi-hat in the chorus. So that means the tambourine for me has to go opposite. So we'll turn it down and then pan it away from. So we'll go about 60% opposite. And now there should be some balance between the tambourine and the hi-hat. Cool. Now I did an acoustic, so have a listen. That's definitely me. Isn't it strange you can just like go here and go, oh, that's me playing. Peter, you can add some gong, gong, gong cowbell. That actually worked really well in this. And the whole thing, just to sort of reiterate for the beginning, is like, I want this to be the 70s. And then there's Roni's rhythm. I assume it's hers, so we'll go Roni double. It might be me. Let's have a listen. Sounds like me, doesn't it? This isn't a Roni's live track. And it's not important who it is. I'm not making it like, oh, it's me. What I mean is I might offset the acoustic, and my rhythm are probably going to lock better because it's the two performances. So that might be the left and right. Let's go back to Roni's main. Oh, yeah, and Laurie sang on this as well, did all the backgrounds. Laurie was Mama Cass after Mama died. Mama Cass died. So she was in the 70s and 80s. She was in the Mamas and Papas. Also, she was in, she was the lead singer along with, why am I blanking? Really famous. Listen to the wind blow. Fleetwood Mac, guitar player. Why am I blanking? It's just so obvious. She was in a band with, oh my God, this is terrible. Lindsay Buckingham. She was in a band. So the girl singing backgrounds here, well, lady, woman, but the girl, she was in, I think the band was called like Buckingham something or other. So it's quite a star-studded event here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it was called Buckingham something or other. You can look it up. Do you think you are to say that? Here's the piano. Yeah, I can't remember Laurie's last name. I actually did a solo album. Lindsay. Sorry if this is all meandery. We don't normally do this, but I'm just giving you some background on this, on everybody who's playing on it. Was it Buckingham Nicks? Was it that one? Can't remember. It was one of those solo project things that he did. That could also offset the acoustic. So that's me playing rhythm guitar, it just is. And then the acoustic. It's a Nord. I'm wondering if the piano and the acoustics should just offset each other a little bit. Because if we take Ronnie's main guitar and then pan that hard left, you know, in the choruses, at the moment it's 70. So let me just go in. We'll do that now, believe it or not. So I'm going to go to the top of the chorus because she's panned about 70% typically. And then, you know what, I'm going to have her guitar be at like 50% in the verses. And then I'm doing the build now. This is pretty scary for you. I'm sort of building the song how I want it to be. But I want this to work. I want this to be great. Great. So now what I've got is I've got all of Ronnie's guitars going opposite my rhythm guitars in the chorus so that we go wide when that comes in. Here you go. So now we have left and right. We have the acoustic panned about 50 and the piano panned about 50. I'll double check that. But that should give us some wide guitars, some sort of like acousticness, organic elements of the acoustic piano, my fumbling away. And now I think we'll have like a bit of a chorus lift. Yeah, piano's at 37% and the acoustics at 24%. Let's see what happens. There needs to be some tightening going on there. I don't know if it's the piano player's fault, that's me, or the verse guitar. But Volta's saying, I don't know how this mix got so nasty when everything recorded sounds so darn good. It's the artist second guessing, wanting to be all 70s rock, and then using, you know, Alter Bridge as a reference. Nothing against Alter Bridge, but a totally different animal. We recorded a 70s rock song with a bunch of classic 70s rock musicians, and we ended up trying to morph it into something it wasn't. But it's great, you know, it's great to be able to talk about these things because this is the stuff that we come up against. Every day, you know, you guys and girls are asking me how you interact with musicians and the stuff you have to deal with. So this is kind of the reality.
times, been through all the hard times. It hasn't been easy, I know. You can pray to the Father, go home to your mother. She's waiting there with open arms. Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Now, well, who do you think you are? Say that you love me, walk out on me. Won't you tell me who do you think you are? To reach out and touch me, say you're sorry. Now, who do you think you are? Say you love me, you walk out on me. Tell me now, who do you think you are? Reach out and touch me, say you're sorry. One time now, who do you think you are? 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 Who do you think you are?
Hey! Yeah, fantastic. So there's a whole bunch of harmonies there I was throwing in. I was just trying to get through the song and see if there's anything that kind of jumped out to me. You can tell I put an Arvox on there to bring the vocal in a bit more. I got an Echoplex here.
Love one another. Help one.
So that's my old tape Echoplex, which is actually currently broken. We need to get that fixed, don't we? Then there's the H3000 here, which we should group together. So we'll call that, just call it H3000. Oh, an extra O, extra 0 would give us 3000.
Love one another, help one another. Don't you think you know by now? If I do what I please, would it all fall to pieces?
And then I have the Echo Plate, just for those of you who don't know what that is, and then the Vocal Magic are two presets on my Lexicon, which you normally get
one another, help one another. Don't you think you know by now? If I do what I please, would it all fall to pieces? All this time we still don't know how. So put it all together. Is it getting any better? Well, who do you think you are? Say that you love me, walk out on me. Won't you tell me who do you think you are? To reach out and touch me, say you're sorry. Oh, who, yeah, do you think you are? You say live.
There's some weird rumbling in there, isn't that, on that end of that reintro? I don't know if the bass is just...
You are.
Yeah, I don't know what he's playing there. Let's have a listen.
You are.
I don't think he's hitting with us. This is what happens. Yeah, he's playing on the F when we've already gone to the F sharp, I believe. Yeah. We're actually on the G there, and he's still on the F. Hence the cacophony. I wonder what he did on the intro. It's not very good, but it might be better. So this is all part of the process. Just give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay, that's a little better performed. So this, I think he was trying to keep the momentum going, you know, which is okay, admirable, but okay, great. All right. We can clean that up as and when, but already it's like, at least now it's playing the right part. This is what you do. This is what part of our job. I like that. Yen says, this is why you can't remember his name. Yeah, it definitely had its moments. It was, you know, everybody else in the band, obviously I was playing some rhythm guitars with Roni, Kenny Enoff, world-class drummer, amazing studio, Laurie, incredible background singer, Mamas and Papas, Lindsey Buckingham, you know, and the bass player, God love him, an amazing guy, has been Roni's bass player for years. And you know, there's a loyalty which is absolutely touching and beautiful, but sometimes, you know, it just needed more work. And remember, this was a new song for everybody. Roni hadn't played it before. They did 2 days of pre-production. We did 2 days of pre-production before recording this. So it's not like the bass player knew the song inside out. And, you know, you're playing with Kenny Enoff. That's pretty high level. One more time for me. Much better. I think that's going to sound groovier anyway, to have those breaks. On, get on, get on.
Think you are.
Something else is rubbing. Let's just do this.
You say live for the
I wonder if we just take him out the re-intro.
you think you are.
Yeah, we don't need it. Sorry if I did that a little quick, but I don't think the hammer needs to be in there. It could be playing the riff, but it's not.
Ooh, yeah. Do you think you are? You say live for the moment, don't be a loner. No one is an island, you know. So I do all I can, and I know who I am. After all this time, you still wanna go. It's rushing.
What is going on with that piano player? It's me. So did I replay the down did I replay it? Sorry everybody, this has been interesting. You can tell, not much of a Stones fan, am I? Huge Stones fan. All right. When I'm writing these songs, it's like, it's just in your DNA, isn't it? That and some Kinks. Okay, let's have a listen to what's going on with the piano. Gee! Warren! All right, so I don't know what I was thinking there. Super ahead. So I'm just going to nudge that back. It doesn't matter if it's a little ahead, because that's going to push the groove a little bit, but it was so far ahead. Just throwing Ronnie's guitar. I'm a little ahead of the kick. Let's pull me back here. Maybe just as Chad. Throw in our bass player. Eric, joke time with Eric. I've got to use the bathroom with a vengeance. This is fun. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on this journey.
Oof. Well, that came out of nowhere. Without any warning for me. How is everyone? How are you guys? Sorry for if anyone hears that little squeak interference. It's still trying to figure that out. I think it might be the computer. I don't know. Still trying to figure it out. But yeah, joke time, huh? Oh no, I'm on camera. I just saw the camera change to me on full screen. So weird. I'll never get used to that. Jokes. Jokes, and more jokes. Ah, ground loop common with Mac laptop. Well, it's not a laptop, it's the actual tower, but um I mean it does sound like a ground loop. Or is that a ground loop? Because I'm used to ground loops just being this like low hum, just but this one's this weird high pitched alien squeaky noise. Like, yeah, do a good one. That's a lot of pressure. Is that beautiful album still sitting on the tape machine? Yeah, we have a couple of them, a few of them. They're still. We haven't moved any of them, so it's still gonna be up there. Yeah, walk away for 1 second and then boom, you just get Eric. Yeah, I gotta make sure everything's going through the same power strip, and that power strip is going to the firmament, so it's hopefully that fixes it. We have a lot of power issues. So sometimes when you look at well, not sometimes, a lot of the times if you look at the firmament, we have it's the firmament that has the line voltage meter, and sometimes you look at it and it's just so down. We're in the hills, everyone's using AC up here because it's so hot, and I don't have the console on because I'm trying to save power, and when you turn the AC on, it ducks down like whatever 3 dots is. Right now it's at 110 out of, I don't know. It doesn't say what the max is, but it goes from 90 to 100 to 110 to 120 and then a couple more dots after. I don't know what the actual measurement is, but it's at one. Is it by twos? If it's by twos, then it's 112, which it's green on the meter. There is HDMI cable that's running the actual screen monitor to the Sling Studio. That's how you guys are seeing that the screen. So I don't know if that's something. Yeah, rolling blackouts. Sometimes you'll notice you'll see that guy in particular, that little lamp with the red light, it'll flicker, and then it's like, oh, we had a little brown out. That's interesting. HDMI interference. Yeah, no wireless microphones going on, but I mean the Sling Studio is Bluetooth. I'll try that too. So I'll make sure everything's on running through the same power strip to try to keep away from any, going through multiple different power outlets, and also try to keep the HDMI cable separate from everything. I'll give that a try. Anyways, I should tell you guys a joke before Warren shows up, and he's like, "What? You didn't tell him a joke?" Ooh, all right. I'm trying to run out, so I need to look for new ones. But what does a vegetarian zombie eat? Phone chargers do it too. Okay. I don't know what's connected back there on that power strip, so I got to check it out too. Bobby says, "Did you know the first French fries weren't actually cooked in France? They were cooked in Greece." That reminds me of the older. I told the joke already before, but it's where is it? Where is it? I think it was like, how is Europe like a frying pan? Because Greece is in the bottom. Something like that. Yeah, how is Europe like a frying pan? Because it has Greece at the bottom. Ketchup, vegan. I don't know. I'll tell you guys. Oh no, Matthew Sweet got it. But you got to add a bunch of the A and I's, so it's grains. It's a little throwback to what is it? The Night of the Living Dead? Was that the first like zombie movie? I remember seeing that, and it was black and white, and I saw it a couple of years ago for the first time, and I think it was black and white, and it actually scared me, and I was like, "What? This movie is how old?" And it's legitimately scaring me. Like, it's freaky. It's so weird, and I think that was the first zombie movie.
What was your joke?
It was
How many Erics does it take to change an Eric?
Oh, that'll be infinite. What does a vegetarian zombie eat?
A vegetarian zombie eat?
Mm-hmm.
A vegetarian. Can you go wash this, please?
Oh yeah.
I forgot to take it. Vegetarian zombie.
Vegetarian zombie.
Vegetarian zombie. No, I'm going to kick myself when you tell me.
It eats grains.
It eats what?
Grains. But then grains, kind of like the whole brains.
That is one of the worst jokes I have ever heard. I thought it was going to be clever. You didn't think it was that bad?
It wasn't as bad as the last one.
Oh, what was the last one?
Oh god, what was I can't even repeat.
Grains. Yeah, but I'm sorry, everybody.
That was a good
I
one.
apologize.
I liked it.
Eric's insisting it's a good one. Ah, dearie, dearie me.
It smells super fresh. It has a disinfectant spray all over it.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go back to the screen. So you can see what we're doing here. We're essentially what we're doing is we're just going through the song and doing everything we can to build it up, keeping it as natural as possible. We've done a little tiny bits of EQ and stuff, but most of it's been balancing, panning, and now just kind of cleaning up performance things. I'm sort of feeling like I want to listen down with the piano in mind. It's interesting. It's not like terribly on top. Oh, so it looks like the piano player, me, needs to chill out a little bit here. Pull him him back a little bit. Him being me. I don't know what's going here. Seems like I hit this extra note. Hopefully this edit's not going to be too painful. You have to be careful with things like pianos. They're not very forgiving with editing. When I was working with a Fray, editing the piano was always a pain. It was like always better to get Isaac to just come in and replay, even if it meant like you were just asking him again for the 10th time. I would just, you know, try to get him to replay little pieces. So just a little bit of a bass there. So it's all part doing the do. So just so you know what I'm doing, I'm just trying to get that piano bass guitar relationship. I'm trying not to edit everything note for note. I'm just getting there. When I hear something just a little bit too painful, I'm just pulling it back. The whole idea is to have this be a performance. The drums are not gridded, as you can tell. Nothing is gridded. It's just nudging. This is just like if I was in the studio and I'm going, can you just punch in that part? That's all we're doing. We're just talking about it like punching in a part. So on the whole, it's starting to get there. And look, it might seem like I'm doing a lot, not really doing that much. I mean, there's like 6 edits, 2, 3, not even that, probably about 6 edits total, and a couple on the bass, couple of moving stuff around there. But ultimately, this is pretty minimal. When I see guys and girls who like grid the whole drums and then grid every single bass note and everything, we're just thinking and talking about this as though from a perspective of like, if this was a performance-based thing and we just asked to punch it. Remember when I was interviewing, I'm trying to remember Leland, when I was interviewing Leland Sklar, Lee had played on a song that I did with Dick Wagner for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which you can buy and the money goes to charity, so feel free to do that. That would be amazing. But anyway, he asked me to do a punch-in on one note, and I was like, I'll just move it, and he went, no, and we just punched in the one note. So this would be like the bass player punching in like 4 times, be like the piano player, me punching in like 4 times. I mean, it's not unusual. I certainly don't feel like we're taking away the integrity by doing something minimal like this. Okay, let's go to Ronnie's lead here.
It hasn't been easy, I know. You can pray to the Father, go home to your mother. She's waiting there with open arms. Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Now, well, who do you think you are? Say that.
Now, for me, this is a little production thing. I feel like coming out of that solo and that breakdown, I want that pre-chorus to be a bit more powerful. So I'm wondering if Ronnie's performance is different from the first and second pre's. I'm hoping it is. I don't think it was copied and pasted. I think it was just a performance. So, yeah, it looks like they're all different. So let's go to this one. So let's get my guitar. Where is my guitar? Where's my guitar? Ah, here it is. The one that's called Roni, but it's not. Okay, so is that the identical one? Oh yeah, put it in the wrong place. Do! Is it the same one? Oh, that'd be a real bummer. It looks like it might be. because I want this pre-chorus to be a little bigger, a little bit more different. I think it's the same one. May have been a bit of a battle to get the one. Okay, so let's just try the very first one and see if that is. Yeah. This might be a part that was difficult. Yep. Well, there you go. Happens to the best of us. So it looks like I did copy and paste when she got a good one. I used it everywhere. Well, that's a bummer. So we're going to have to get creative on the mix then. I'm not going to plug in another guitar. I mean, I might, but the problem is it's just for that one part.
Yes, well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Now, well. Yes, well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Now, well. Yes, well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Now, well. Do you think?
I suppose we could try something a little bit more like it, because we've got the. We could try. So we could try something maybe. Could try something a little different there. I'm not sure. I'm going to suspend belief for the moment and see what else we can do. But it's possible I might just play that riff again or add something. I just need something that makes that a little bit more interesting, because it's going to be the third time we hear that exact set of pre-chorus parts.
Through all the good times and through all the hard times, it hasn't been easy, I know. You can pray to the Father, go home to your mother. She's waiting there with open arms. Yes, well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Now, well, who do you think you are? Say that you love me, walk out on me. Won't you tell me who do you think you are?
I mean, Eric, if you just give me a DI, we can just quickly try it. Just grab me the good old-fashioned Yamaha. It's tough because I don't want it to be so different, you know. I don't want it to be so different that it stands out. It's just got to be a lift. Of course, this track's in this guitar's in E flat. Thank you. Is 2 available?
Yeah, I'll have to go into 2.
Can't see round the back
Yeah,
while
that's
I'm
the-
holding this.
You got right here.
Oh yeah, losing my mind. All right, so let's just see what we can quickly knock up. This guitar's in E flat because the tuning for the song we did the other day was in, you guessed it, E flat. So all I'm going to do is create just a track. Okay, so we'll call it W pre-chorus, and we'll grab, what should we grab? Harmonic. Trying to do something really quick. Nameless Suite. We're doing some work with Engels, so. Yeah, I mean, that's the dumbest, simplest thing. Engel is a great company. We have a lot of Engel amps here, as you can tell, and we're doing some stuff with them, which is going to be wonderful. So that's pretty close to what a tone I would use.
He's waiting there with open arms. He's waiting there with open arms. Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Well, ooh.
I mean, that was basically it.
He's waiting there with open arms. Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Well, ooh.
Not sure she's doing like,
He's waiting there with open arms. Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Well, ooh, do you think you...
So what I did there, if you can take that, please. What I did there is I played it a bit sloppier on purpose. You can tell I kind of like lifted my fingers off the strings. It's got to. I can't make it sound too tight and perfect, or else it will not work whatsoever.
Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Well, ooh,
You know, it's okay. Just tuck it down a little bit.
yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Well, ooh, do you think you are? Say that you love me.
And I'm not trying to take away from the lift of the chorus. I'm just trying to make that second pre-chorus feel a bit more interesting.
Times it hasn't been easy, I know. You can pray to the Father, go home to your mother. She's waiting there with open arms. Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Well, ooh, do you think you are? Say that you love me, walk out on me.
Yeah, that was much sloppier. That third one that I did was just better because it needs a little bit like a bit of needs a bit of a push like a Ron would kind of so a little bit of a push, and then on the end that dum 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 da. Well, the first time I played it, it sounded like a machine played it and it had no feel. So that's a little better. I can tuck it down a little bit more, but it does exactly what we're looking for. Just like, oh, that pre-chorus is a bit more exciting coming out of that section. And, I love the idea of putting horns on this song. This song would be perfect with horns. I mean, for me, I grew up listening to like the Meters. That was my, one of my favorite bands, Let's think of some of those Meters bass lines. That was it. That's it. That's where all of this stuff comes from. Love all that. That's total Meters. So to me, and then this is the Stones. But that's a horn line. Do I do a windmill? Yeah. I can't sitting down, but yeah. So we're definitely in the right ballpark here. We're all recalling the same stuff. So if you fine ladies and gentlemen want to put some horns down on this, that would be amazing. Yeah, and with Kenny Enoff, I mean, it'd be great to get like an incredible horn section and get people to mix that. and then send it back to Ronnie and go, hey, here it is with horns. Anyway, absolutely wonderful. I'm pretty happy with where we have it now. And I want to come back next week with fresh ears and start getting into some more EQ and compression and all that kind of good stuff, drum parallel, compression, maybe sneaking in a bit of kick and snare samples if necessary. But what we have is completely better than the mix that I ended up with those horrible references. Trust me, I must have mixed this song like 9 times, changing the sound all the time. But let's have one more listen down from the top before we go. And please, once we're through with this, please head over to the YouTube channel and see the top 10 favorite free plugins. Here we go.
Love one another, help one another. Don't you think you know by now? If I do what I please, would it all fall to pieces? All this time we still don't know how. So put it all together. Is it getting any better? Well, who do you think you are to say that you love me? Walk out on me. Won't you tell me who do you think you are to reach out and touch me? Say you're sorry. Oh, yeah. Do you think you are? You say live for the moment, don't be a loner. No one is an island, you know. So I do all I can, and I know who I am. After all this time, you still wanna go. It's resting on your shoulder. It's time you make up your mind, yeah. Who do you think you are to say that you love me and walk out on me? Won't you tell me who do you think you are to reach out and touch me? Say you're sorry. Now who do you think you are? We shared all the good times and through all the hard times. It hasn't been easy, I know. You can pray to the Father, go home to your mother. She's waiting there with open arms. Yes! Well, it's resting on your shoulder. It's time to make up that little bitty mind. Now, well, who do you think you are? Say that you love me, walk out on me. Won't you tell me who do you think you are to reach out and touch me? Say you're sorry now. Who
Very nice. Very, very happy. Very happy. Wow. It's 12:30, 2 hours. That was a lot of fun. Okay, so good basis, much more exciting, far more in keeping. Would love to hear horns on this. Whirly, I think, would be good. It might just be a little soft. I'm thinking more, if you could play piano, like a proper upright and play a much better part. It's just tough. As soon as you put whirly on it, it becomes 70s, more 70s Americana than I think it should be. It's just me. To me, it's supposed to be more Stones and Aerosmith, and I don't know if Aerosmith ever had a whirly or a Rhodes, maybe one or two times. There's something good about a kind of crappy upright the piano, but I am happy to have somebody replay it. The whirly would be good, but I think it would definitely soften it, and I definitely want that edgy kind of Stones wrongness. You know what I mean? Just make it a little wrong, and try not to soften it and make it too sweet, but, maybe edge out the whirly, maybe put it through an amp and distort it a little bit, but just nothing too soft. Having said that, you can ignore me and do whatever the heck you like. And if you make it better and amazing, then we're all going to be absolutely happy. So you can also do that too. All right. Thank you, everyone. Absolutely wonderful. See you next Wednesday on this one. See you Friday. Eric is actually having a vacation. Did I get it right the first time?
What's the difference?
Sorry?
What's the difference?
What's the difference between a drinking vacation and a proper vacation? Where are you going this time?
Laughlin.
He's going to Laughlin.
River, that Airbnb, but the backyard is a river, basically.
The backyard's a river, apparently.
Colorado River, and
So Friday will be pre-recorded. We're going to have to record it tomorrow. But blame him. Blame Eric, not me. He's going away drinking. He's got, I got a guy. Anyway, all joking aside, but we will see you Friday regardless. Also, what was I going to say? Next Wednesday, we'll get back to this song. If you've done stuff in the meantime, love to hear it. And that was a lot of fun. Thank you ever so much for watching, for hanging out, for commenting. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you very, very soon. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir.